Hey guys, I've spent the last couple of days putting this lift kit in my Prius. Now it's tall enough to drive over my coffee cup. So we're going to start by removing the sway bar link. Well, obviously the wheels as well. You need your Allen key in the middle. Also you need these spring compressors because I'm changing the dust boot and the rubber stopper. But it's also quite difficult to get the bolts in, the 3 bolts in the top of the strut. They're pressed in there pretty well, so you kind of need to remove that top piece using the spring compressors. Of course, I never got the right size piece. And this is when my worst fears happened. The whole thing was just slipping and rotating, the whole shaft there.
No.
I tried grabbing it with wrapping it up in a cloth and putting vice grips on it. Could not get it to go. So I ended up going and buying a brand new torque wrench tool here. They were $500 at Bunnings, but I found this off-brand one for $120 at the warehouse. Didn't think it was going to work, hit the receipt so I could return it, but it immediately worked. Hallelujah. There's a little bearing in there and a seal around it, so just be careful of that. There it is. So here's the old boot. It should look like that. Where's the rest of it, you ask? It is fucking inside here, and it's not wanting to come off. I got a new one of these as well because it looked well fucked. Just gotta get this off of here though somehow. Oh man. Took quite a bit of cutting. I actually fast forwarded here a bit. Trying not to scratch the metal underneath. And it was really jammed on there. It kind of sprung off at the last minute. And there we can see all the rest of the accordion material that got shoved up in there. Just completely jammed on there, jammed together. Had to cut this one off as well. There we go. Look at all that. Jeez, it's been on there well. Definitely needed replacing. From that to that. So to remove the old bolts, I just set it over a socket and gave it a good bash on a concrete floor, and the bolt will fall through into the socket. So I'm just going to be replacing these with longer bolts that will go through the spacer, which is the lift kit. So the bolts that are supplied with the lift kit are a little bit loose in the hole, but I tested by putting a socket on there and wrenching it down that it would be able to tighten. So instead of tack welding them in place, I'm just going to use some electrical tape to hold it and pull that through up into the car. Here's a quick comparison shot of old and new. There it is, all installed in the left side. Now time to do the other front wheel of the car. I just start by loosening the top and leaving the nuts on there, but leaving it loose, and then go down to the underneath and disassemble everything. Make sure all the little brake cables are out of the way, then you can drop it down. Put on the spring compressors. These can potentially be quite dangerous, so you just got to watch a video and see how to do it correctly. And it's basically just a lot of this. Back and forth, back and forth. Swap to the other side, back and forth, back and forth. They say not to use the drill on this thing, so thought I'd be careful. I use the drill to undo it. Got my extension on there to get past it. There we go. I never knew when it was enough. You can kind of see at the top when there's a bit of room though. Pull the rubber seal off. I didn't know it was a rubber seal. With all the dust it looked like a metal one that I was trying to pry off. And then you got the nut revealed, which comes off nicely with this tool. Cut this one off as well. Man, they look terrible. I never knew it was so bad until I opened it. I wanted to just buy a whole new strut assembly for each wheel, or at least the front two, so I didn't have to take them all apart. But they wanted $500 for each one, so that would have been $2 grand, so there's no way. Just spent $120 on the dust boots and the stopper, so that was enough. This job's definitely adding up. All the little bits and specialty tools you have to buy, like the spring compressors, the torque gun. Yeah, luckily I already had the jack stands and all that. And I'm using my work tools, so that's been a good help. And also thank you to my grandparents. I'm using their garage today. I always put these back on out of habit just so they don't wander off while I'm working on the car. So working on the rear now. This is the next day. I thought I was going to get it all done in one day, but it ended up taking quite a while. So I've already moved the interior parts, now just removing a couple of frameworks around the battery and then the top of the strut, so right there on either side of the battery. I've opened this thing up so many times I could remove the lining in my sleep of the boot of the car. Replace the battery once, and then before that I replaced cells in it twice. But it should be set for the next 10 years now. Brand new battery in there. Spray everything down, you know, half an hour before you're ready if you can. It wasn't too bad, nothing's too rusty living in New Zealand here. No salt on the roads. These were pretty tight though. I did appreciate having this long lever bar. There's 2 bolts at the top, and for some reason there's one underneath, just to make things a bit trickier for you. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where I fuck up. See, there's a little cable behind. It's going to become very tight. Make sure you disconnect that. It amazingly didn't break because I was putting some force on it. But yeah, definitely take that off next time. Out it comes. This one's a lot simpler, a lot easier, quicker to disconnect than the front wheels. And I don't even have to take it apart. I can just bash them out right there. So much better. Was a bit of a pain to get these back into place. I had to use the C-clamp on the other side to pull it over. Just make sure you work on both at the same time. So just, yeah, you know, work on them together, otherwise that bar going across will hold you up. Here's that wire. This is when I realised. I was pushing down on it as hard as I could to try and get the bloody strut put back in, and it was yanking on there and on the other side. So far I've taken it for a test drive and nothing's gone wrong. I think it's the ABS sensing wire or something like that. I don't know how it didn't break. Now this is me being an idiot as well. I couldn't get one of the windscreen wipers off, so I diddled around for ages trying to figure out. I pulled it out somehow and I couldn't get it back on there. Got my mask to keep the windscreen wiper safe. In the end, I did manage to get the windscreen wiper off by using the C-clamp again. It's been real good, just pressure pulls it off of there. I'm just wasting my time here trying to figure out this puzzle. There we go, I've got it. Snapping it back into place. What a pain in the ass having to move all the windscreen wiper motor and all this cladding just to get to the top of the strut. And then fit the blades back on. But what I've forgotten is that earlier I turned them on to vertical position and then turn the car off. So now when I start up the car, they immediately try and push down to the off position. And again, I could have broken something here, but you'll see just in a couple of seconds when I go and turn it on. The motor's cranking away trying to push them down. So I take it apart again and then turn it on. You can see them spinning. There we go, it's all repositioned and it is done. Here she is, look at all that ground clearance. Just a little tour out in the red zone. Thought I'd try driving up some curbs and some gutters just to check it out. Maybe next weekend I'll go off-roading, but for the moment this is about as crazy as I can get, just driving up some city curbs. I think it looks pretty good. Of course when I load it up it'll be lower to the ground. Here's the real test. Straight up the curb, no problem. Definitely couldn't have done that before. I would have ripped off the whole bumper reversing out of that. Here's my coffee cup. Doesn't even go anywhere near it. Anywhere under there, it's all above height. And then again with another cup. Okay, thanks for watching guys. I'll be posting more videos about this as well. Please give me a like if you enjoyed the video. See ya.